Next speaker, Soteria International, followed by Golos Svobody Public Foundation, Pakistan.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this fight against human trafficking can be and is sometimes used to cover oppression of certain spiritual groups, as the definition of human trafficking is ambiguous and leaves large obscure areas. In most religious practice, the voluntary work is an essential part of the individual spiritual practice, as well as the work for or in the religious community. In Europe, a well-known example is the work that Christian monks do in monasteries. The same practice, in less known spiritual or religious practice, is in some cases labeled human trafficking. This makes the already stigmatized groups vulnerable to institutionalized discrimination and even judicial persecutions, violating the freedom of conscience and belief. The question is, if at this level we are able to analyze the cases by reference to a spiritual system little known or not understood in Europe, or at least in some of the European countries. Do we disregard someone's choice of living and sharing spiritual or cultural beliefs just because they do not fit the society as we know it? Soteria International works to protect the human rights members of minority religious or beliefs, and will expose now a case that we consider it symptomatic of what was presented above. Today, 21 yogis from the yoga school MISA stand in a Romanian court accused of human trafficking due to their spiritual practice and voluntary work within their spiritual practice. Can one consider as elements to the offense of human trafficking activities such as cleaning, repair work in one's dwelling space, payment of utilities that one benefits from in the respective spaces? Where are the benefits of such activities? Who is actually benefiting from these activities? In the end, those who profit from the respective activities are those considered by the judicial system the victims of human trafficking, who benefit from corresponding conditions of accommodation and life, and who agreed by their free conscience to do so. Which is the border between voluntary action performed out of the person's will to satisfy their needs, spiritual in this case, and the action performed under constraint, abuse of any type, for the purpose of bringing profit to another person? Why disregard the right of freedom of thought, consciousness, and religion, man's freedom to express or act according to his spiritual credo? What is the reason why in certain Christian monasteries it is legal to perform activities for the good of the respective community, and in the case of yogic monasteries and ashrams, also locations of a spiritual nature, the same activities become an element pertaining to the offense of human trafficking and include the penal accountability of the people involved? Just because we are talking about tradition and the behavior that has been accepted by the society? Just because we refuse to analyze and take in consideration a spiritual system different from our own? This should not be a sufficient explanation and reason to condemn someone and to attack his criminal liability for human trafficking when the elements of the crime are not met. Recommendations. Soteria International recommends OSCE, ODIHR, and the OSCE participating states to develop with precision the judiciary formulations regarding human trafficking so that voluntary work cannot be included under it. This refers especially to religious forms of voluntary work, as these groups already stigmatized in society are more likely to be targeted by false accusations. Soteria International recommends Romania to thoroughly investigate the consequences of the present formulations of human trafficking and the trial against yogis practicing karma yoga. Thank you very much.